I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Sullivan?
Here.
Mr. Feather?
Here.
Mr. Allen is absent with prior notice. Ms. Spillman?
Here.
Ms. Boyle?
Here.
Ms. Hollenbeck?
Present.
Mr. Kovitz?
Here.
Mr. Marrington?
Here.
And Mr. Parentano.
Present.
The quorum is present.
Thank you. Rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The board met in executive session this evening prior to this meeting to discuss matters of employment, issues related to labor relations, and matters related to litigation. The district mission statement: the Neshaminy community builds futures by empowering each child to become a productive citizen and a lifelong learner. Mrs. Burns, any announcements?
No announcements.
Thank you. Superintendent's report, Mr. Jones?
Good evening, everyone. I think we're going to have spring at the end of this week. 70, 80 degrees, they're even saying. We have artwork that I like to spotlight here because each month we rotate our schools through so that we're able to see the good work that's being done in our elementary, middle school, high schools. This month, Maple Point Middle School is being displayed, the artwork of the students, and we want to thank the teachers Kate Hansen, Tammy Rosano, and Hara Zephron. Appreciate all of their work to help advance our students along the path towards excellence in the area of art. We're going to talk more about art in just a minute, so I'm going to skip down to a few other items. Just a point of reference, I included a note about one of our elementary schools in terms of their school-wide positive behavior improvement plans, and what they do as part of that intervention and support program is they also hold some pep rallies from time to time, just to support kids, catching them doing things right, and having some fun while they do that. So Fertibar had a little assembly program where they did one of those minute to win it kind of activities with the whole school. A lot of fun, a lot of smiles, a lot of excitement, but also a good opportunity to reinforce the proper and expected way that we can move children to become better citizens in school communities, but also the community at large. In talking about fun, the Harlem Wizards are returning here to Neshaminy School Community. It's this Saturday. The Neshaminy Education Foundation last year had a wonderful inaugural program where we had teachers playing the Harlem Wizards. The young students who came out to watch the game and those adults, those of us there, had a lot of fun watching some of our colleagues out on the court. A lot of excitement will be had again, I'm sure, this Saturday, April 14th, 7 o'clock. It's a fundraiser for the Neshaminy Education Foundation. Tickets are available online, and neshaminy.org/wizards will get you there. I want to point out that our Interact clubs are active, and again, another good example of community citizenship. And we had students from Pequesson and the high school back at the end of last month, both on a Sunday, helping out at the Rotary Club annual pancake breakfast at the Feasterville Rotary. Just want to thank our students who went out there on the weekend to add their presence and their support to the community and all good work associated with Interact clubs. High school had a new adventure where our students participated, special needs students, learning support students, in what was called a K-Hall Craft Fair with some creative help from Snipes Farm and materials provided from, again, a Neshaminy Education Foundation grant. Our students designed and created a line of personal care products that they called the Neshaminy Naturals. They created commercial programming, they advertised, they budgeted, and they ultimately sold those items face-to-face with parents, students, adults in the community, and it was just a great learning opportunity and experience, and a good way to involve the community in our work as well there. Dr. McGee went a little crazy on top of the fact that the graduation date has been announced. He's now told you all of the possible graduation dates by indicating that the first rain date will be Friday. Graduation date's Thursday, June 14th. Sunshine, nice weather, that's what we want. But in case it rains, Friday's our first rain date at 6:30, Saturday the 16th at 11 a.m., and then Saturday at night at 6:30 p.m. He says he has experience with this, that he's had to do this in the past. And he's hoping the 4 works. Jim Knighty did it this year. And then finally, STEAM Expo, April 19th we have our annual STEAM Expo coming to the high school. We invite everyone out that evening, 6:30 to 8:30. It's a wonderful opportunity to see some of the STEAM work that's happening here across the school district, science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics. I was a math teacher. I was drawing a blank. Congratulations also, before I close up. We had over 500 students at a junior prom just this past weekend. Wonderful event. These things happen. It's kind of hard in a large system like this to know all the little nuances that are happening. Our principals do a great job just maintaining a school culture that supports our students from pre-K all the way up through their senior year. That was a high school event that took place, and I already told you I'm looking forward to spring. This was a tough winter in terms of school closings. I know the kids liked it for a while, but we're ready for a strong end. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. On board docs, this month's report is from Paul Main, the Assistant to the Superintendent, Director of Administration, and it's the semi-annual report. That brings us to our presentation section. Today we have Neshaminy Art Program celebrates 30 years of the District Art Show. And I think David Jeanette and Tammy Rosano will be presenting tonight.
Good evening, everybody. The District Art Show is a once-a-year event. It's a culmination of a lot of work in all of our schools across the district in the art that they're doing. And I'm told it's the 30th year. So, we thought it would be good to have some faculty and a couple students here this evening to talk a little bit about their experiences with this and the history. And we'll start with our director of the art show this year. It's Tammy Rosano.
Good evening. I'm here to speak about the District Art Show and some Neshaminy art news. This year we're celebrating the 30th year anniversary for the Neshaminy District Art Show and would like to invite the community to attend. The show will be held on Wednesday, May 23rd and Thursday, May 24th from 7 to 9 p.m. at the high school in Gym 1. With the support of the Neshaminy Education Foundation, we are also reaching out to retired art teachers and alumni to help us celebrate. Therefore, those of you who have either gone through Neshaminy or have been part of this community for some time, like myself, may run into an old friend if you attend. Opening night will consist of light refreshments, opening remarks, a few awards for the poster contest winners, and of course amazing artwork done by kindergarten through 12th grade students. This year, the Extraordinary Senior Exhibition will be held in the gym. You will not want to miss it, and if you keep your eyes peeled, you will also see some artwork done by the current art faculty. Each year we hold a District Art Show poster contest, and I'm proud to announce this year's winners. The elementary winner is 4th grade Layla Exter from Fertibar. Layla has other co-curricular obligations and therefore could not attend this evening, but I do have a quote from her to read on her behalf. Layla said, and I quote, "I was excited to enter this contest. I have recently been doing silhouette drawings and paintings. That's why I decided to do that for the poster. I love my cat, and the poster represents me and my buddy Rusty. I love art class and my teacher. I enjoy the early morning art club that Miss Luizos held for a few weeks for select students. I like all of the projects that we do. Thank you for selecting my poster." And we have a couple of pictures up here as well. There's a photograph of Layla, and this would be her poster up here. The middle school winner is 8th grade Jillian Nord from Maple Point Middle School. Jillian's with us tonight and would like to speak about her poster and how the visual arts have impacted her.
Hello everyone, my name is Jillian Nord and I'm an 8th grade student here at Maple Point. I am very honored to speak with you tonight as well as excited because I'll be talking about something that is a very big part of my life, art. Now, I figured it would be smart to start at the beginning. I've always enjoyed drawing, but over the past year or so, I have kind of realized that, wow, I'm kind of getting the hang of this. Lately, I've been drawing more than ever before and really working on my skills. Although I do try to improve my art with each piece, I usually draw for my own enjoyment. It is so therapeutic for me, and I end up with a product that makes me very proud. As for art in school, I enjoy that almost as much as I do at my home, which is saying a lot. I have had amazing teachers throughout both schools that have taught me so much about all types of things, and I'm grateful for that. All three of them combined, Mr. Bursk, Mrs. Hanson, and Mrs. Rosano, have taught me and my classmates how to use paints, pencils, charcoal, clay, paper mache, and so much more. Art in school is so important to me because I, along with many of my classmates, use it to communicate and learn from one another. I truly have had so many amazing days in the art room. On top of that, the regular and district art shows are always a blast, but obviously this year is a very special one for me. This year, as you all know, I have been chosen as the middle school poster winner. When Mrs. Rosano called me down to her win and she told me the news, I was ecstatic. Thank you for recognizing me and my poster, as I worked very hard on it and am overjoyed that I get to share it with the whole district. I'm also really looking forward to seeing the pieces that others have created that will be on display at the show. I think we can all agree that there is so much to observe and a lot of talented artists throughout our schools. I remember going to last year's show, and one memorable thing was the room with all of the high school portfolios. It blew me away. As for my poster, it definitely pushed my boundaries as an artist, as I'm sure it did for the other winners. In this poster, I wanted to incorporate different types of art, and I chose photography, painting, and drawing. The challenge for me in this piece was definitely the hands grasping the camera. I'm not entirely sure why I decided to make the centerpiece of the poster the weakest point, but I just chose to roll with it. I guess that was a good decision in the end. Overall, I'm very happy with my poster, especially since I get to share it with so many people. In addition, drawing those hands encouraged me to not back down from a challenge and know that I can draw almost anything if I set my mind to it. I hope that I can convey some of that to others as well. In conclusion, I will always be thankful that I was chosen to represent the middle schools at the District Art Show. I'm really looking forward to May 23rd, which is opening night, and I thank you again for inviting me to speak at this board meeting.
Thank you, Jillian. That was very well spoken. We also have one more student with us tonight. The high school winner is 10th grade Ryan Vaughn. Ryan's here is also with us and to speak about the poster and how art has impacted him.
Good evening. First, I would like to thank Ms. Rosano and the art department for choosing my poster to represent the Neshaminy School District Art Show. I would also like to thank the school board for letting me speak here tonight on behalf of the selection. Big inspiration for this poster came from Mr. White and Mrs. Luba. These art teachers offered me knowledge about the art of design, logo placement, and the use of computer programs that I used to create this poster. The art show has been a big part of my life for as long as I was in the district. I love submitting artwork each year in hopes of getting it featured in the district art show. I remember as early as elementary school being excited to show my family and grandparents, my grandfather, who was an artist himself, all of my artwork that was featured. Neshaminy's art programs have helped me progress through the years, and now I'm in high school, creating computer art that I never thought I would be able to make. I hope to further my education in computer art, graphic design, and game and app development. I would love to have a career in this field in the future. Thank you.
I just have one more quick announcement. Let's see. I'd like to take a moment to congratulate these talented young artists and look forward to seeing more artwork from them in the future. Their posters will be reproduced and on display as advertisement in the community. Last but not least, I would like to honor a student whose artwork was chosen last year's District Art Show to be included in the Bucks County Intermediate Unit Student Art Gallery for 2017-2018 school year. There's a total of 16 students from the district and our surrounding areas included in this exhibition. Only one piece of artwork was chosen from the Neshaminy District Art Show. The artwork has been professionally matted and framed, and if you visit the intermediate unit, you will see Sara Mears' reduction linoleum print on display. Sara created this piece while in 8th grade at Maple Point, and I was able to witness all of her hard work and efforts in creating this work. She often came into my art room during lunch or when to get her ambitious work done and never gave up. Sara's perseverance and attention to detail has paid off and shows in her outstanding artwork. Congratulations, Sara. We would also like to do you want to just end? Anything else? No? Okay. Thank you for your time.
Very well done. We're going to take a picture and hand out a couple of award recognition certificates, but I just want to say, Jillian, you did a phenomenal job. You talked about art as a means of communicating, but you also are able to communicate real well with your voice. You did a beautiful job tonight, and you did a nice job recognizing your teachers. I want to thank Ryan, too. Exciting to hear about how art's been with you for your entire time here at Neshaminy and how you're envisioning it as part of your future. Glad to hear that probably some of these art teachers and art experiences have helped kind of shape your future. And it's important for us to hear about the importance of art in the world of our students. And I know this is only a piece of your world, but it's an important piece of your world, it's obvious. So we're going to come up there, Mr. Sullivan, Board President, and I, and let us recognize you. Thank you for coming out. Before I give up the mic, I do want to thank Mr. Bursk for coming out as well. His name was mentioned as one of your earlier art teachers, but we have phenomenal art teachers across this entire district. The work that's taken place in all of our schools, all 10 of our schools, is really amazing to behold. To walk through our hallways, you can see the serious work that's taken place from a very young age all the way up through the high school. And you can see some of these posters here are just clear images of just good, strong work that's been done over the course of time for our students. Congratulations, you guys did a great job.
Yes.
All right, Jillian. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Great job. Right in the middle.
No, the middle over here, so there's nobody in your background.
The middle over here.
There you go. That was kind of like photo bomb in your.
Thank you. And I want to hear from John, for sure. I think we're heading in the right direction. I think that we were able to help
And
them out.
Ryan, let's have you come up here. Congratulations again. Thank you so much for being out.
Yeah, I guess I'm more impressed. Save us some money. Like 600 pounds. I think it's going to work out, but they got to.
So we just got a picture of the teachers and both students.
Still
Thank you so
working
much.
with Lower Sound, not the park. No, that's out of our hands. But that's all. That's all bullshit.
One more. Thank you. That's all.
Hopefully.
Parking lots are
All right, thank you. This is a great time to get home and go home.
Right. Exactly. So, hopefully they can settle.
That brings us to the first public comment section. Mrs. Burns?
Mr. Rodas?
Imagine that.
Good evening, I'm Steve Rodas. I live in Flowers Mill. They always told you never to follow young kids and pets to talk, because you'll always wind up looking bad. However, I do want to...
Didn't stop you though.
Not going to happen. I just want to congratulate all the students who participated in these school district art shows. And, there are many people who don't realize the need for art and the arts in a school district curriculum. So for those people who don't realize the need for it, I would recommend that you watch the last 30 minutes of Mr. Holland's opus. That will put it out for everybody and in an easy to understand manner. I do want to commend the board and council for the manner in which they handled the charter issue last week. I think that's right in line with the current decision of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, and I commend you for handling it in that manner. My third point really deals with the insurance consultants. You hired consultants after receiving their bids, and a few years ago there was a board member who Never let the insurance issue die for meeting after meeting after meeting and after some more meetings. So I urge you to be, pretty upfront in all of the bids. I assume that these people, these consultants will be putting out the bids, or does the district put out the bids? I'd like to know that, but, make sure it's unencumbered by strings and other machinations which are possible in the insurance world. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. That brings us to the next item. Items for approval at the public meeting. They are 2.01, transfer of entity, 2.02, life and disability policies, 2.03, the healthcare and prescription plans, 2.04, the lease addendum with the Bucks County Intermediary Unit for Lower South, 2.05, acceptance of donations, 2.06, the bid approvals, 2.07, budget transfers, 2.08, Sunday facility usage. Any questions on anything, or? Okay.
Hold on. I got a question about 2.01, transfer of entity. Can we get an explanation from the administration, please?
This is the resolution that will allow for us to provide notification to the IU that it's our intention to bring back one of our programs that's currently being provided for by the intermediate unit. It's an autistic support class, what's deemed by the IU to be a level 2 class. We brought back level 1 classes last year, and this is part of a process that we're looking to continue as much as possible, where we can get our students in our own classrooms with our own teachers. And so this is also a budgetary conversation that's happening at the budget meetings as well.
Besides giving them the level of support that they deserve and need, do you see this as a large revenue impact, or is it actually revenue neutral to bring it back?
As has been the case with a number of these transfers of entity, we are seeing a budget. It's a positive for the district to bring this program back. So we're gonna gain on the budgetary side. More importantly, it's going to be as strong, if not better, program for our students, and it's going to be locally driven. So it's kind of a win-win in that regard, and that's what we look for.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jones.
I had a question about 2.02. So this particular company was amongst few. I know that we did a screening for the other part of the insurance, the medical insurance. Yes. This was different, and why was the? Can you explain why this wasn't a public type of a thing?
The difference with the life and disability is there is a expected coverage that we're looking to provide for our employees. It's a much more simpler policy, and it's really just a matter of who's going to be able to get us that coverage at the best rate. So the board had, through the Business Operations Committee, asked for us to send out, and it actually did go through their committee, to 5 different consultants to have them do that work for us. And this was the consultant that came back with the clearly the best, not just the best cost for the district, but also by and far the best service. They are exclusively in life and disability business, where others are doing it as kind of an extra, an add-on to the other type of work that they're doing. So they really presented themselves extremely well. We would have wanted to go with them even if they didn't have the best price, but they actually had the best price as well. So it was a win-win for the district.
So basically, best price for the least amount of, I guess, overhead or revenue.
And best coverage.
Best coverage. Thank you. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
I have a question about 2.04, the addendum, the lease addendum for Lower South with BCIU. Can you give us a little more information on that?
The board's been aware that we've been working with the IU in terms of their existing lease. There's an obligation in that lease for them to do HVAC work and some other things related to that in the building itself. That was part of the original lease. They've gone out to bid, they've worked to try to make that happen, and they just need time in that timeline to make the final installation a reality. So where the original deadline had that work happening by probably right about now, this is going to push it out and allow for them to go through the summer and into next school year to complete the work.
Anything else? Brings us to committee reports, business operations, Mrs. Hollenbach.
The district is moving along on the budget. We still have some work to do, but we're in a much better spot this year than we were last year. We're still not there, but we are moving in the right direction. The next meeting is May 14th at 6:30 here in the boardroom. However, there's a conflict and that might need to get changed. But tentatively, it is May 14th, and it'll strictly be about the budget. Thank you.
Educational development, Ms. Boyle. You can do policy too, right after.
Okay, the educational development meeting is going to be April 17th, 6:30 here in the boardroom. We're going to continue to discuss the academic programs for this coming year. And the policy, the date has not been determined yet.
No, we're good now.
No, it is? It is?
Monday, the 23rd.
Okay. It's going to be 6:30 here in the boardroom. Anyone's welcome.
You're on a roll. Can you take the IU too?
Well, actually, the IU meeting is going to be on the 17th as well. You know, it's going to be in Doylestown at 7 o'clock.
Thank you. Mr. Feather, Neshaminy Education Foundation.
The Neshaminy Education Foundation Board met at Maple Point yesterday afternoon. The main topic was preparations for the benefit Harlem Wizards game, which will be played at Neshaminy High School this Saturday, April 14th at 7 p.m. Tickets are still available at www.neshaminy.org/wizards. General admission tickets are only $10, and the Courtside Plus seats have already sold out. Online tickets can be purchased only until Friday evening. The price goes up after that to $15 at the door. Plans for an alumni committee gathering at a local restaurant in early May are in the works and will be announced shortly. The annual spring restaurant basket raffle is underway, and tickets will be sold in schools, at the Wizards game, and at the STEAM Festival. Thanks to generous donors, there are 2 baskets this year, each with over $250 worth of gift certificates for local restaurants and other businesses. Tickets are $5 each or 3 for $10, and the drawing is May 18th. Finally, the foundation will hold a Dinner for Dollars event at the Oxford Valley Mall Bertucci's Restaurant on Monday and Tuesday, May 14th and May 15th. Thank you.
Thank you. PSBA Liaison, Mr. Puritano.
We're entering what seems like we just exited recently, but a new budget cycle coming up. Currently, from an educational point of view, charter school reform is one of the areas PSBA is looking into, specifically still to try and get the cyber charter schools under control. The amount of money per student versus their actual operating cost still is a wide difference versus your brick and mortar institutions. You know, how that goes, you know, we don't know, but we're hoping that they can finally fix that big issue. The new voucher bill that's still in the Senate is still of a big concern. And there's still a push on property tax reform. That still may occur. That will drastically change the way schools will operate and boards will operate to comply with that law. So I'm sure lots of interesting information to come. Right now is kind of like the lull before the storm, but in May I'm sure it's gonna heat up. So hopefully we'll have some more to report then. Thank you.
Thank you. Tech School, Mrs. Bowman.
The tech school met. We had our annual tech board recognition dinner at the tech school, where it was a nice opportunity. It was a wonderful event. The kids in the culinary arts got to showcase their skills. They made all the food, they served all the food, they presented all the food, and then they did all the cleanup. So it was really a nice event. After the banquet took place, we met some things we are discussing currently. We are going over the articles of agreement and the budget. Our next meeting is on April 23rd, so we should have a budget and an articles of agreement for the boards to vote on in the May meetings. Also, we're looking into increasing the 9th grade population seats, their quota, to 425. So that would open up additional seats for each school district at no additional cost. So there's some things that are happening at Tech. Thanks.
Thank you. That brings us to the second public comment period. Please approach the podium. State your name, where you live. Keep your comments to 3 minutes. Mr. Rodas?
Don't encourage him. He's comfortable. He's comfortable.
Okay. That brings us to future topics. Anyone have any future topics?
Mr. President, I'd like to suggest a future topic. I would like to ask the President to consider the formation of an ad hoc committee on facilities operations. I believe the Business Committee may not have enough time to properly exert oversight over facilities and related issues. This is not a knock on the committee's performance. I just believe it's the reality of how cumbersome the budgeting process has become, and the issues that go along with it is just taking up an enormous amount of time during those meetings. I, of course, would like to chair the Business Committee to comment on if she would support such an action, and if so, I would like the chair to seriously consider implementing such. I personally have 3 areas that I believe we need to concentrate on, but I would hope that we could poll the entire board at the appropriate time and see if we can get a direct mandate. I'm not asking for an open-ended committee. I want specific issues I think we need to deal with. The first one would be implementing efficiencies in the department overall. A few years ago we started that process, and then unfortunately, we ran into the changeovers in administration, and it kept getting pushed back. We never really gotten back to it. I'd like to get to the point where this board can get consistently monthly or bi-monthly reports on what's going on a day-to-day basis inside the buildings, open ROs that aren't being filled, why they aren't being filled, ongoing maintenance, capital planning, which we do. The Business Committee does do a good job on the capital planning part, but just modernization of our facilities operation, I just believe needs more board input and oversight. And there are just some examples of the areas I would like to go into. Two, and this has been something that Mr. Jones has brought up to me in a prior conversation. It's been almost 4 years since we engaged in a demographic study of the district. In order to plan properly, we got to know what our demographics are. During the consolidation process, we actually bought a software package that was termed GIS software. That's only part of what we need, though. We actually need a demographer to come in and look at those numbers, feed that data into the system, and this is just going to help us plan going forward. I know many people on this board still envision possibly future Maple Point Elementary School, and if that's the direction that we're going to move in, we're going to need that up-to-date demographic information to support that. But just from the day-to-day operations of the district, we need to keep our demographics up. You can look back at the old studies, you can look back at some of our projections, and they're all over the place. But that is the nature of demographics. Like, we were projected to have 3,580 K-5 kids at this particular time. We actually have 3,300 K-5 kids. But in our secondary level, that population has grown, where the demographics at the time actually showed it to be the opposite. So, overall, we're off about 400 students. We are maintaining, right around 8,700 in-house, the overall 9,300 overall in outside placements, as well as ones that go to tech school. So I just think it's a good idea, to be up to date on that, and I think we need to discuss that further. And lastly, this is not a huge problem for this district. It's neighboring districts have a bigger problem than we have, but I do believe we still need to step up our efforts on theft of service. Every year, monthly, we see that we're finding, families that, are unfortunately gaming the system. They don't live in our district. They don't pay taxes here, yet somehow they find a way to get their children enrolled here. This isn't about the children. This is about, making sure that the people that are in our boundaries are the ones that have, access to our schools. We've had some instances in the past where we've had the sister school kids, because there wasn't enough room in their neighborhood school, to another school. I don't know if that's because, we have, an influx. But, it's definitely something we need to look at more robustly. Last year, I know Mr. Jones, Mr. Main instituted a survey in 2 grade level movements. But there's some other options out there. I know a neighboring district actually has a line budget item for private investigations for theft of service. And not only that, when they discover those theft of service, they file civil actions in order to try to recoup that money that's been taken from the taxpayer. So I just think we need to step up those efforts. I'd like to discuss that and see if we can come up with some more, areas of how we can approach that. We don't want to deny any child an education that deserves to be educated in our boundaries. But if there's people that are, taking advantage of us, they don't live here, they don't pay taxes here, yet they feel it's fine that they can use an alternate address to get their children educated here, well, we're not okay with that. And we want to stand up for, our taxpayers. So I would just like the chair to take that consideration under advisement and continue a discussion with the administration and with the board and see if we can get to that. So thank you.
Thank you.
I agree with Mr. Parentanos. We probably do, not probably, we do need a separate committee for facilities, because we always try to talk about it and it always gets, we run out of time. And I agree that we need the monthly or bi-weekly, however, assessments with what's going on with our facilities, and a more fluid plan for our long-range plan and where we're going and different things of that nature, because it gets glossed over too much in the business operation. So I do agree with that.
Duly noted. And
How long have you been waiting to use
I'm waiting to use that word since I got up here. Duly noted, and I think we should. It's an excellent recommendation. I think we do need to consider it, because a lot of things go on a day-to-day basis, and we have continued to talk about business operations before the meeting about talking about facilities, and next thing you know, we get into the budget and we're not talking about it. So I think it's very important, and we do have to talk about the demographics and long-range planning.
Well, and just considering what you did on the insurances this year, which turned out to be a great thing, but that was a large undertaking. It tasked administration with a lot of time. It's going to save the district money, but and it was worth doing. But other things went by the wayside to make room for that. So, like I said, I just think we should get to that.
Duly noted.
Again.
I just wanted to make a real simple aside. Mr. Meehan does a lot of work for this district, but I just want to give Mr. Devlin credit for doing the entering 5th grade, entering 9th grade re-registration process. A lot of work out of his office, and then you also mentioned Mrs. Hinterberger and Ms. Markowitz doing a lot of work, especially with that insurance work too. So thank you.
In regards to future topics, I would request that we get an updated assessment on how we're doing with food services. Specifically, the enrollments and the food choices. I'm still hearing some conflicting information about food preparation and things like that. So I would just like an update to see how we stand with that. Thank you.
Anybody else? Any other any future? Okay. No one's. Do you have something? Your comment?
She's waiting for board comment, I think.
Board comment?
I just wanted to recognize Gabe Fox, the Herbert Hoover parent that donated $1,000 worth of bleed kits. The Stop a Bleed initiative is something, unfortunately, that you're going to hear a lot about with the increase of mass casualty. Being in emergency services, and I have mass casualty training, I definitely see a need for this. Also wanted to recognize Middletown Township emergency management personnel who seem to have an interest now in providing the district with the larger bleed kits. This is something that's essential for the emergency management of our district. So thank you, Gabe Fox, for your donation.
Thank you. Any other board comments?
I just want to recognize again Jillian and Ryan for their art presentation. As Mr. Jones already mentioned, Jillian's speaking at the podium was excellent. She did a fantastic job, and Ryan as well. And Mr. Rodas' comments on transparency in our insurances. I had absolutely no issue with the process we used before. I thought it was transparent enough. I can say that this business committee has increased that transparency, that we called in more people, more interviews. So it's working right. It's working for the taxpayers, and it's given the board the information that it needs to make the decisions it needs to make. So I'm very complimentary of the work the administration has done, as well as the business committee, on tackling a large issue in such a short amount of time. So they did a great job, so thank you.
I wanted to talk, just to remind folks again about the Wizards game coming up. I think my family and I attended last year. It was a lot of fun, great fun. If you have kids of all ages, will really appreciate it, and it goes to a great organization. And then, of course, the STEAM Expo, near and dear to my heart. So the school, the district always does a great job. The kids and the teachers always do a fantastic job, and the folks who partner with the district as well. Definitely worthwhile. Thank you.
May I just add one more? I want to pick up on something that Cindy mentioned.
I was going to point to you.
That's I appreciate that. Working, working with the VOTEC board, Mr. Kovic as well as Mr. Allen, seeing the possibility to increase some seats is a lot. Every year we have kids that want to try something different. Not every kid is going to go to college. Not every kid is meant to go to college. If you look at the employment ads today, society has a lack of tradespeople available to do very high qualifying, high rewarding, high paying jobs. We need to shift a little bit more into VOTEC nature to make sure kids are making the better decision. Very rewarding careers are there, and the fact that we're able to increase it somewhat, not incur any additional costs, is just just fantastic opportunity for our kids. So I just want to appreciate the tech board and Mr. Jones this year. I know this is a pet peeve of his as well, about the way we provide those slots to the kids. I want to see those slots have a wider criteria of acceptance. We have to consider what's best for the kid, not just the kids that score the best on the test. And our job is to develop the kids, not prejudge what they're able to do. So I hope we can expand that as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'm done.
Good? Okay.
We all back to him again? Sure.
All right. With that, I think we can adjourn.
Second.
Second? You have a motion. Make a motion. Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?